sueminahan.
Welcome to Talk Cosmos, the show where sueroseminahan and her guests bring you insightful conversations to awaken heart and soul consciousness. Come journey with us exploring the meaningfulness of astrology's energetic cycles and get ready to understand your path in the cosmic roots of the stars.
Happy New Year, everybody, one and all. Remember, we have the power within just to make our choices, because the world at large, we're going to find out more about it right now. The world is turning, always as we know, yet dynamic changes can be happening either in your personal life or globally. Today happens to be the first Sunday of the month, and it's always going to have this particular panel. I have deleted the name. I love the name Planet Buzz, but yet I am focusing still on planets, and we're still with Dr. Lauratadd, and we still invite a wonderful guest who we're thrilled to have today. It is January 4th, and we'll get right to it. Here we go.
In the first week of the month, Talk Cosmos ignites a conversation exploring planet cycle relationships in a cosmos to understand their archetypal consciousness and meaningfulness for individuals and the collective. Blending world events, mythology, and philosophy, these are the astrologers identifying the deeper impact of the planets buzzing in our daily lives.
I'm Sueroseminahan, founder of Talk Cosmos since 2018. I'm an evolutionary astrologer, consultant, speaker, writer, vibrational astrology student, Dwarf Planet University graduate, Kepler Astrology Toastmasters Club charter member. I have a fine arts music degree plus a certificate in jazz. I'm an artist, musician, and certified color energy life coach. Especially, I love mythology and esoteric philosophies.
And I'm Dr. Lauratadd. I work as a spiritually oriented psychological astrologer with students and clients around the world. As a counselor, writer, and educator, I love helping people recognize their inner strengths, take advantage of auspicious moments, and navigate times of challenge with greater ease. On my own podcast, mythicsky Storytime, I discuss astrology, mythology, and actualizing our full potential. Learn more at mythicsky.com.
Plus, a special guest who we will introduce in just a short moment.
And as the ancient Hermetic code reveals,
as below, so above. As above, so below.
And so be it. Hi, Dr. Tad. Hello, Laura.
Hi, it's good to be back.
It is. We are igniting a year, and I needed to tell people our focus today, the Venus Star Point. A part of astrology that I hope really begins to resonate with people in the consciousness of astrology. But regardless, it's happening. It is here. Ariel Gutman that wrote and really shared this first with the world of Venus Star Rising indicates that even though people don't know it, it is working. But isn't that true? I'm going on here about eclipses or anything. Yes.
Yeah, all of astrology, right? Pluto was in play long before we discovered it, right? So, yes.
Touche. All right, let's get to Louise. Here we are. Louise Edington from Salt Lake City. Hello, Louise. And her website is louiseedington.com. And she is a very prolific speaker, which we will show with a better bio, but of Cosmic Owl Astrology. She is the Cosmic Owl. And it's at Substack. And also at YouTube, which is Cosmic Owl Astrology. She's a blog writer, a shamanic guide, a symbolist, and organizes really devout, well, I call it devout because it is, it's dedicated workshop classes, which happens to be largely on, or not, well, significantly on the Venus Retrograde, which she calls the Venus Retrograde Heroine's Journey, since Louise is an official certified practitioner of Ariel Gutman's Venus Star Point, which is on my list. I might be 93, but
I actually started the Venus Retrograde Heroine's Journey class after it came to me in a dream in 2017. So that was even before I took aerial certification. So
I
yeah.
I love that, because truly I'm beginning to think, okay, and this is jumping, but then we're here to talk. I have slides, and I will tell people up front, many slides. I'm weaning myself from slides, and we're just going to jump over some of them because we want to talk. But really, with the Saturn and Neptune, anyway, the point is, dreams are so important, and they do come to us. It's part of ancient mythology. So thank you for sharing that. I think we need to remember. And let's see. So here, and besides being active, very active on OPA, Organization of Professional Astrology, which is a mentor and a peer group leader in their great program. And I think I have it right that your next class for the Venus retrograde will be in August.
September, because the next star point's in October the 24th, so it will start in September, and the star point's in the middle. So
okay, very good. Well, go to the Louise. Very excellent. Let's talk a little bit about Venus Star Point. It's when the Sun and Venus get together. It's 9.5 months, and it's from Earth's perspective. It's a pentagon. It's this beautiful 5-pointed, because there's 5 of them, but we're really focusing on the Capricorn one. And I guess my one thought, that as we know that in the book, I just love this phrase, it's our celestial heartbeat for Earth and the human race. Just because heart, we have been working with Mars. Anyway, heart is important. Yeah.
And the Venus cycle actually makes a heart shape at one point in its cycle. Anyway, the over the 8-year cycle, you can find all these cycle images on astro-seek.com if you want to look for them. So
yes, and Venus Sophia, which is Ariel's, and on your site, I believe. But more than this, Fibonacci code, we have to remember, which, as I'm saying, that Venus, of course, is that, because of its perfected orbit. I mean, it does go backwards. It's a little odd, but still it has that round orbit that's so perfect to make that pentagon and the hearts. It's where Michelangelo and etc. has all the sense of balance, the spiral.
It's an almost perfect cycle.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Looking into the archetype, and just to register, when did it begin? It began during most of our lifetimes, many of our lifetimes, let's say, half of our lifetimes, since 1986 on January 19th as an evening star, because Venus has this great cycle of going away for 40 days as she returns as a morning star, which is a whole nother element to realize, but it is important. The Mayans had that idea, but it ends in December 22nd in 2077. It's about 100-year cycle. This one seems a little less, strangely, isn't it?
It is. It's usually just over 100 years in each sign, but like I said, it's almost a perfect cycle. That's not okay.
Well, maybe it must be just enough for what it is. I do believe in the homeopathic idea that we get what we need. Okay.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
And now we're not going to go through all these. These are slides that a person can review and look at, but there is the pro and the con, but there are themes too, and they relate to Capricorn. Any comments between both of you that you'd like to share that stands out?
Yeah, well, I do want to say that the Capricorn Star Point collectively has been very much associated with a lot of the breakdown in structures we're seeing globally, like institutional structures and personal structures a lot of the time. And I'll probably refer to that a little bit more as we look at some charts. But it's also about bringing in new laws, as well, and kind of the Capricorn's more the kind of man-made institutions and laws and authorities. So we're going through a very transformational time, as if we didn't know.
It's a good thing to remember. Laura's also agreed, yes. Well, that's very important, because in all mythology, and I think of Kali, create and destroy. And endings are always composted into new beginnings. And without that breakdown, yes.
And could I just say one thing about your point about it works even though it's just kind of a conjunction and a point, a star point, that it works in very much the same way, I'm going to say, as the lunar nodes, which most people use. And also I'm going to refer to the planetary nodes a little bit with this star point because they are active in this and they work in the same way. And I had a meeting or connection with Mark Jones, who's written a book on planetary nodes. And we came up with the term wavicle because it's kind of like that particle wave thing of quantum science. So he came up with it, really. So,
and that's, say that again, wavicle. Oh, I love this. Yes, we need, every year they have new words, and I think astrology could add to it because it's part and parcel.
Yeah.
Well, the nodes, I thank you too for that. I perhaps mentioned it, but there's so much to mention because there's the two orbitals. There's the Earth as it spins on its axis, which is the primary motion, which goes clockwise. And then, of course, there's this Earth as it orbits around the sun, and that's the secondary motion, which is as we think of the zodiac, Aries going over to Pisces. So, yes, but these go backwards. So, onward.
Backwards through the zodiac, over time.
And even from 29 to 0, and also in the earlier, which we think of as earlier signs. Well, this slide perhaps indicates it is one that this graphic Laura presented, and some of this information on the left I pulled out from earlier slides that you did and we've tweaked. But generally, in this cycle, the earlier Capricorn star was in 2022. And
well, so this is just the direct, right? So the 2022 Venus was retrograde. The 2018 Venus is direct. So that's why the 2022 date isn't there. Because this is only the direct star.
Yeah. And I've done another slide with the direct and the retrograde stars, so we can see them differently, because the Venus Star Point makes 2 5-pointed stars over 8 years. One made of all the direct conjunctions, 5 direct conjunctions, and one made of 5 retrograde conjunctions. And the retrograde and direct conjunctions are always about 9.5 months apart. And it's a 19-month total cycle. Does that?
Yes, and there are so many elements to it that for the new person, it's true. It gets a little like
it's a lot,
However, because I remember there's always, it's an 8-year cycle. However, this idea that, of course, it fluctuates from direct, Venus goes direct to retrograde, and sometimes always within this period of 8 years is so important. But one idea to clarify that, if you share, if this is right, it's at the same degree, essentially. The minutes are slightly off, but within 8 degrees for that retrograde or direct time, it's at the same degree. And then it flips a couple of degrees as it begins its path down to 0. That kind of helps.
They're kind of similar. But my charts show that as well, so we can look.
Yes, we can move on.
I don't think if people want to learn it in more detail, they're either going to have to take Ariel's course or come and learn with me. I think
I like it,
or read her book.
Perfect. So we were wondering, and before we begin, I thought this question might be good. And that is, it seems to me that at this, it'll be on the 6th that we're, in a few days, that we're having the Venus Star Point in Capricorn, at which time its ruler, which is Saturn, will still be in Pisces. Shortly later, on the 26th of this month, it goes into Aries. That, I would think, affects the general experience of it, but we're wondering, does it?
I think so. I definitely think it does, because, the Capricorn Star Point is in play for 9.5 months. We are under the Venus evening star for the next 9.5 months. And during that time, Saturn, not only being the ruling planet of Capricorn, moves into Aries, but it will square that 16-degree Capricorn point, and that's because that point, every time it's activated by a significant aspect, usually does bring something as well. So it is significant.
So it is the point, which we understand, but therefore, because it's in Capricorn, whatever Saturn is doing, as we astrologers understand, it's going to, have influence and connect with it. Whether it's thank you.
Yeah. Laura, especially when Saturn gets to 16 Aries, that will
Yes. Oh boy, so true. And that'll be within, because it's a 2.5-3 year period. That'll be about a year and a half, maybe from now. Should we go on, Lord? Is this your?
I think there's a lot of slides to get through.
Yeah.
So.
Well, then this is just a prelude, because we have Louise's slides. But the fact is, both Laura, we all agree, Mars, this is a Venus star point, but Mars is conjunct with less than a degree and a huge player. And Mars and Venus, we want to remember, are the cosmic lovers. And it happens to be that Mars rules quite a few of the Aries planets, and Venus also happens to rule Uranus right now. So with that said, here we go. We're ready.
So on the left, this is the point of the actual Venus star point on January the 6th. It's at 16 degrees and 22 minutes Capricorn. But you can see Mars is here at 17 Capricorn. I don't know if you can see my pointer, or do you need to do yours?
Let me do that. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know whose pointer shows it, or if anybody's.
Are you at 22 or 26? I'm sorry, because 17.
At 26, I'm looking at. 16 and 22. But not only that as well, we're recording this the day after a huge full moon, 13 degrees Cancer Capricorn, and Venus and Mars were exactly a degree either side. So all of these personal planets are really working together. Now, some people might notice that I've added some extras to the left of Mars at the top there. Mars is at 17.3 Capricorn. To the left is Pluto's south node, and then Saturn's south node. And these are going to be activated through this too. And if I could sum up the planetary nodes, they're kind of like the planets on steroids. So these planetary nodes were involved in the big conjunction at the start of the pandemic in 2020 as well. So, they're powerful objects. I can't obviously go through Mark Jones' whole book with this, but if you can see at the opposite point of all of this, Jupiter's in Cancer, retrograde, with the north node of Pluto, and close by is the north node of Saturn. And to my mind, this is, well, we'll look at the Mars Cazimi next, on the next slide, but this is, and this is very intense. And we're already literally seeing earthquakes in the structures of our government in a way, and also the actual physical earthquakes on the earth. The energy is up. It's that kind of very heightened energy, that's all. But I did put the 2022 slide in just to show you where the star point was then. It was at 18 Capricorn, and a bit and there's the Pluto south node and Saturn south node in that, all in this circle. And interestingly, the 2022 star point was the retrograde star point, which launches the morning star. Shortly after that, Russia invaded Ukraine. Morning star Venus is often more associated with war. This is kind of like the full moon of that. So I'm kind of hoping a lot of what's happening in the world doesn't come to much because of that. Because evening star is the love goddess Venus. But interestingly, as you can see, that was at 18 degrees. And now it's moved back to 16 degrees. So it does gradually move backwards through the sign over time. So I wanted to mention those things. Sorry,
excellent. And no, it's very illuminating, because I think one does really understand that the cosmos and not just our mundane experiences, but nature. You know, like I've had on this island of Hawaii, a volcano going off.
Oh, yeah.
39 times in 1 year. And we're waiting for the 40th, which is expected somewhere in the middle of January. They're beginning to get an idea when it happens. And it's not getting smaller, they're getting bigger.
Oh, I know.
Like 1,400 feet. Well, we'll see where it really ends or begins. So
and there's
yes,
huge flooding in California. Parts of the 101 are shut down because of rock slides.
Yeah.
So
we're seeing some quite big weather events, right? And Seattle had flooding.
Oh,
Seattle
yes.
flooding.
It was intense. That's right. In fact, my sister lives up in the higher area. They were all islands. It was like smaller areas of Seattle outside near the mountainous areas, and there were mountainous spots. Excellent. And the nodes are with Mark Jones. It's just fascinating. And people, you can see that. Just notice the little horseshoes that go up and down.
Yeah. And if it's small on your screen, I suggest pinching it out, or take a screenshot and enlarge it so you can see them. Right?
Indeed. You know. I love the roses. So going on,
the rose is the Venus symbol, by the way. In case
I almost added a rose. I'm good for this.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Let's have a quick look at this one. So, so here's the Venus VSP again on January the 6th, but just 3 days later, Mars is conjunct the Sun, which is also the start of a new cycle. It doesn't have quite the same regularity as the Venus Star Point, but here's Mars and the Sun together at 19 Capricorn, and Venus is still at 19 Capricorn on that day. And on that day, which is only days away, they're almost exactly conjunct the south node of Pluto and opposing Jupiter, which is at the same degree of the north node of Pluto. And if anybody watches, there's a geologist called Stefan Burns on YouTube. He talks about the increased energy of earthquakes, just looking at all kinds of other data. But astrologically, Jupiter is closest to Earth during this time. So Jupiter retrograde, because it's about opposing the Sun, is at its perigee. So that makes its impact stronger. The nodes of Pluto make this really powerful. It's also forming a T-square to Chiron and Eris, cardinal T-square.
We hope it's healing. I think there is.
I'm not trying to scare people. Sometimes things have to kind of get shaken up before they can be healed, right? You know, and I think that's what we're seeing in terms of earthquakes.
Yes, indeed. You have to to remove the splinter, you have to open up the skin. That's very true. And I didn't, I guess I jumped in, didn't I? And what no, it's okay. And what I'm thinking again is maybe we want to expand a little bit on the power of Venus and Mars together, because Venus and Mars in mythology, we're the great cosmic lovers. And I remember Ariel was saying, and we could reflect on this, that there's been a lot of aggression as far as moving forward as agriculture went forward to create, which is civilization. And she didn't say all this, but raising the consciousness. Yet now what is important is bringing in the aspect of caring about other, about caring about self, about the love, what love truly is, the true sense of giving, you know.
Well, I think I would describe it as the illusion of separation. You know, we're coming out of a time where really we thought we were separate to everything. And, you know, we controlled the earth through farming, we controlled each other, we controlled this, we controlled them. And I think these two coming together is saying,
it's part of, and I think that Capricorn, like accountability, right? Like that I think is part of this, and being accountable for our actions with the Mars, and how that then is tied to ethics and values and what's most important. And I think that that's part of the potentially being a reckoning, but accountability, right?
Yeah.
And having to take responsibility for past actions, with it being the south nodes too, the past deeds,
Yes.
having to be
Yeah.
accountable for previous
Beautiful.
behaviors and actions that maybe we're
And
not loving.
And that's all of us, not
Yeah.
just
Yes.
somebody else who's maybe done worse actions.
Yeah, it spirals out. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. It's and Capricorn's really about elder wisdom. I always think it's, how can I become that elder now? What have I done, and how can I be better? When you know better, you do better. It's just
right, that idea of becoming the expert, when using our expertise in things.
In vibrational astrology, it's called the objective witness. And that's really an interesting idea. And they say that because they've reviewed many charts that were, and came up with these conclusions. Well, we have about a minute before we take a little getaway. And you have this slide here, which is the 16th. Was there something that...
No, if you just want to... No, I just wanted to show that's where... on February, that was the 2022 exact Venus Star Point. I just wanted to point out that was at 16 degrees as well, but this one is minutes back. So over time, those star points do move backwards.
Yes, every 8 years.
That's all I was showing.
Oh, okay. So it goes back and it kind of follows in beautifully to support.
But also in 2022, just after the Venus retrograde, Venus and Mars met at that same degree. That was what I was trying to say.
Fascinating. Yes, they really are trying to get our attention, which means looking back on what everything is. I will flip. Well,
we need a break.
We need a break. We'll do that. But here is, before we go away, I'll just say you do have these, which repeat the idea that it is a 5-pointed star, and it gives the dates of what they are. And these are active. This is another way of understanding if you look at the full pentagram. And
they move, and they do move clockwise through the star, the dates. And so just, I just wanted to give people another look at how. Yeah.
And at present, there's that peekaboo into the Libra cycle, because these have a finite 100-year cycle, and then they go out to the other one. And we will take a break and come back. But, well, as I say, perhaps we will say to people that if this is the entire years of this cycle, well, it's not the entire years, but it's during your lifetime from 86 until the next one, 2030. So if you have grandchildren, or your sisters or brothers, or a baby, or your husband, or yourself, whoever, you can see if you fall within it. It's not the entire year, but it's 10 months of it. So you would be a Capricorn Venus Star Point person. And the oldest of those folks are 40. They're just turning 40 this year. So that's what we wanted to say. And for those astrologers that are a little nerdy, they can, like us, you can look at some of these charts in detail. With that said, bon voyage, stay tuned. We have a whole lot more of conversation with Venus Star Points and Louise Edington and Dr. Tad. See ya. Thanks. While we take a break from this week's edition of Talk Cosmos, let's take a look at this cycle's archetype. We are currently in the yin period of Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, the furthest visible planet by the eye. By leaving a cycle based on meaningfulness and truth, Capricorn's energy establishes social boundaries in a structure incorporating rules, authority, and ethics. As a cardinal earth sign depicted by a sea goat climbing from the sea up to the top of a mountain, Capricorn overcomes fears through goals and ambitions to achieve mastery.
This is psychological astrologer Dr. Lauratadd. Please join me, Michelle Fleming, and Edja Caleb February 21st through the 28th for Evolutionary Training's annual Goddess Awakening Retreat in Playa El Coco, Nicaragua. Enjoy daily yoga, well-being workshops, melt classes, baby sea turtles, and more. To register, go to mythicsky.com.
Talk Cosmos ignites insightful conversations to awaken heart and soul consciousness with hour-long programs every Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific on KKNW. Also available to watch live on the Talk Cosmos YouTube channel and Facebook page. While you're there, make sure you click their like and subscribe buttons so you get the full Talk Cosmos experience. You can listen to earlier podcasts since 2018, either on most podcast carriers or under the video tab on Talk Cosmos YouTube. To join our expedition and find out about upcoming programs, sign up for the newsletter at talkcosmos.com and launch your week into the cosmic wonder.
This is Martha Norwalk. Every Sunday morning, beginning at 9 a.m., thanks in part to the Ananda Institute of Living Yoga, we cover the world of animals. This week, January 11th, it's our first energy balancing show with Linda Rasmussen flying solo. We'll take your phone calls and talk to you about your animal friends, and Linda will do treatments with you and your animal friends through you. Hope you can join us and plan to call in. Martha Norwalk's Animal World, Sunday morning, 9 a.m. to noon, right here on Alternative Talk, AM 1150.
Wondering what's on next on Alternative Talk 1150? Check out 1150kknw.com.
We're back, and here we are for our brief review of our wonderful guests for Louise Edington and Dr. Tad, myself. This is Louise's new website, and there's a contact any point, and then I guess you in your wonderful book that you just published.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm doing a workshop on series on March 7th, 8th, but I haven't got that ready to launch yet. So everybody can, if people want to go to my website and enter their email, they'll get notified. So if they want to know about it.
Excellent. Yes, Sirius is a dwarf planet and our personal dwarf planet. Having studied dwarfs, I very much revere her input. Which is an amazing factor. Anyway, we could go on.
Yeah, I think she is a personal planet. I don't care what the astronomers call her. Anyway,
exactly. And, Laura, you too have changes coming up. Your Cosmic Conversations is now on Zoom for all of us to enjoy. So, folks, and how do you register for that? I tried to look on your website.
It's on my website. Yeah. It's on my website.
Very good.
Under events. Yeah.
All right. Excellent. And then, of course, you have your Storytime podcast, which is also very exciting. I love mythology and something good.
Well, you just heard the ad about the Goddess Awakening Retreat in Coco. So yeah, it's the 4th time I'll be helping out my friend Michelle with it. She's been running them down there for a little over 10 years. I've known her for 30 years somehow. It's hard to believe it's been that long, but then I do the math. So it's a really magical spot right where the jungle meets the ocean.
And time still to get there in the dead of winter. Excellent. And most wonderfully, we're having a sponsorship here with your moonjournal. So for those folks that really want to tie in what's my emotional compass for the year, go to mythicsky and you can get your moonjournal.
Or scan the QR code if you're watching this, and it'll take you to a page where you can buy it. And it's set up so that you could start at any point. So it's 3 cycles of the 8 phases, but there's no dates. So you don't need to start it, with the full moon we just had.
Excellent. For Talk Cosmos, there's a few always last year, but there's an interesting one with our mystery charts. That was quite illuminating. And a message for the entire winter season on a vibrational basis. And we're doing more of a conversation for those that may have listened to earlier ones. You can catch that. It's fascinating. And next week I'm shifting gears again. We're only doing one program on the moon, but it will be every second week, and it'll be about the full moon and the new moon. So there you go. Let's get back to business. I rearranged some of the slides, and I'd like to just review a quick look at 1775. It is, to throw out again another number, 250-year cycle from the time it begins in the whole 5 star points come back to about the same degree.
For those of you who like numbers, if you might notice that 1775 from 2026 is 251. It's actually a 251 cycle.
Yes, but the reason we brought it up, Laura and I were talking, is that for Capricorn, because our personal USA, which I've been well aware, I did a talk on OPA about it, is that it is a Scorpio Venus Star Point, which is coming up in October, which I really hope you come back with us.
I will, yeah. It's the retrograde Star Point return for the USA. It's on like top of the Pluto return and all the things we've had.
Point. Indeed. But we need that heart part to figure out what really, like Laura said, the values, the meaningfulness, all of this. So this is where it was a Capricorn Venus Star Point during this time, and it actually launched what became the revolution, because during that year was the first shot heard around the world in April 1775. So that's why, but you're right, it was 251 years ago, but looking at it from this standpoint, it spells out. And again, it's interesting that here at Capricorn, which is the ruler of the sign, and Mars, which is so indicative of this conjunction right now and purpose, are still big key players back then, but new, looking at it a little differently.
Yeah. Also, it was trine in the 1700s as opposed to conjunct this time. And then we have flip nodes. And then basically a Uranus return, right? Because the US is.
Yes.
So there's a lot of through line from the 1700s to this particular one. And this was the last time there was a Venus Star Point with Venus direct close to where this upcoming one is, which is why we were looking at
brings me to thinking, or brings me to, however I'm trying to get this out fast so that you two can add into this thought of mine, is that yes, things have been in a process of breaking down, with the remembrance that it's always like chaos. It refocuses and magnetizes and gets reformed. All energy just gets reformed, meaning that here we have Chiron involved with Ceres. So there is this wound that we're working to change to the greater good for many, and Ceres that says, how can we sustain ourselves through abundance, through teaching, right?
Just to be clear, just so people are clear, Chiron in the 1775 chart is being transited by Ceres in the current chart. I just want people to be able to, who don't see these things right away.
Yes, no, I really appreciate the extra verbiage here.
And both opposing Saturn, the ruler of the star point. There you go.
Yes, meaning we are really recalculating. Oh, the wisdom. That's what I was just trying to say. It ties in that to throw out as a thought process. How are we that we are reflecting as the wisdom experienced Venus soul to understand what can we learn from our experiences. I just heard on television somebody in the Congress saying, you know what, about Venezuela, maybe we should reflect a little bit about how this is going to work based on our past experience of issues that didn't work so well.
So just one point as well I'd love to bring up is the south node of Pluto was also at 17 degrees on that day in 1775. So, we're seeing similar patterns again, really, but they are slightly different too, because Mars was not conjunct back then. This is a very different kind of energy. Mars as is now, back then was at 14 Virgo. And that's pretty much where the south node is now. So, I mean, along with what you said, Laura, I always kind of see that as history rhymes. It doesn't repeat, right? That's the saying, or something like that. And I think we're perhaps learning lessons of what happened back then, of what we could do differently now.
Yes.
Would you agree? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that part of Capricorn that can be there, it's almost reflective. It's not usually a word I associate with Capricorn, but there is that, like, because you've got the sweat equity, you've done the hard work. Okay, given that we've got 250 years of hard work behind our belts, how are we going to move forward with this bulk of knowledge we've acquired over 2.5 centuries? And leaning into that being a strength, as opposed to the stuckness that can be Capricorn. And maybe that's one of the gifts of having Mars there this time, is that it can break up some of the stagnation of Capricorn, or some of the inertia that you can encounter with Capricorn. It's like Mars helps us work through it and move forward with the expertise, as opposed to just sort of sitting stoically as an expert.
Yes, it is a cardinal sign. It wants to do action. And perhaps it could be thought of that the seat goat needs to realize they're not at the peak yet. There's still mountains to climb. And it's just a new perspective that they need. And that action does throw it in. And it also supports beautifully what you've said, Laura. I'm thinking about how to understand this witness objectivity that vibrational astrology brings in. It is that strength that you beautifully described.
But also Mars is, of course, is said to be exalted in Capricorn. I don't usually use these terms very much, but that gives it kind of extra drive and oomph, though, to add to what Laura said, you know.
I agree.
Yeah,
it is helpful to kind of reflect, like, this is why they say that. Go ahead.
Yeah. And of course, Neptune was in the opposite sign back then as well. You know,
huge.
We've recently gone through our Neptune opposition. We are really kind of reaching, apart from the Uranus return, which we've had a few times because Uranus has an 84-year cycle. Everything's kind of a lot, well, the main things are quite oppositional. And also we didn't even have Pluto or Uranus or Neptune in our consciousness then. I know they were still in play, but they are more in play when we are conscious of them. Yeah. And Jupiter now opposing all of this. That's, you know, he's in Cancer,
thoughts,
the sign of the family, but also wisdom, like higher wisdom.
And what's the big picture? What is the belief patterns? What is replicating, and how can we redraw the framework? I'm so glad you brought that up about Uranus, both of you, because, or however, my Mars happens to be 27 degrees Taurus. So I have really been focusing on this. However, I didn't realize, because it's sweeping across the 28 degrees, meaning it is retrograde, and soon now it will go back over it. So that's that repeating of reassessment, reevaluating what's sudden happening as we understand. Well, we have some time, and we won't go into all of these, but we were in talking about, there's themes. We're always trying to realize, like, what happened in 2018 that is happening now personally. Well, if we look at it in the mundane, there's a few that come out. You know, the first one would be Trump. President Trump, of course, is repeating his second term. And there were issues about human rights, particularly, which involve a lot of women, which is also the Me Too. But science and space had issues.
Well, and I found it particularly so with that piece so during the 2018, which is when Venus was direct, is when Mississippi passed an abortion ban for 15 weeks. That kept being appealed and fought in the courts till it went to the Supreme Court in 2022, when Venus was again the star point, now retrograde, and Roe was overturned.
Good.
So there may be some revisiting of Roe and reproductive rights that we see in this next 6 to 8, 9 months before the.
And I think some of I think some of that could come from what comes through the Epstein files for a start. Just general, how, treatment of women, basically.
Yes, indeed.
Women's rights.
There were quite a few issues with, of course, Venus and that. And interesting how El Chapo is somewhat like Maduro here as far as narcotics, and that whole idea is coming back up because Jupiter, again, as we had noticed, is law, and it's looking at justice and whatnot. So it's working.
Well, there's Maduro and the other one who got pardoned. So, yeah, I can't remember his name, but I need to go into that.
Yes, there was one, exactly. And world leaders, there were quite a few treaties back then. I noticed that there's one in Ethiopia with a country, Eretz, I think, next to it. And there's one actually where with the sea that Ukraine and Russia and about 4 other countries were involved with, that finally came to terms together to agree that, yes, anybody could go with ships. Now, with that said, there was also, as I think Laura mentioned, in Russia and Ukraine, Russia invaded Ukraine, or
that was the 2020. That was 2022, the Morning Star.
Okay, yes. But still, back then in 2018, it was interesting that there were agreements throughout the world where they were working together. And was it then, too, where North Korea went down and talked to South Korea and actually put the clocks at the same time? So it's
I don't remember.
Yeah, I Googled it.
It's on there. Oh, it's on there. Yeah.
Yeah. And so interestingly, Pope
Francis was quite outspoken then as well, and the new Pope is as well. So
And on an astrological basis, we are having this year, after 8 years instead of 4 or 6, the United Astrology Conference for folks. It's going to be in Chicago, so do look that up. You can still get in, I'm sure. I know that Laura helped organize the last one, and Laura Nalbandian, of course, is the year shift changer for this one. And talkcosmos started.
She ran the last one too. She was.
Oh, I know that. Yes, that's right. But I'm saying.
I don't think anybody tells Laura what to do.
I reflected that I started talkcosmos back at that time, and it has a Venus Star Point in Capricorn. So I'm going, think about this. This is
that's interesting, just in how you're not just rebranding, but re-envisioning it pretty directly as you shift into this new Venus Star Point.
Yes, indeed. In fact, I just worked on all of our announcements. We have a new announcer. Perhaps for some people, we indicated the new voice with a little bit new verbiage that indicates it. And although I really sadly let go of the word planet buzz because I'm not naming them, I incorporated the buzzing of planets because it really is potent. All right. Well, let's see what we have for the last part here. Not to look at this chart too much, but we were questioning what's the reflection, because
so this is the chart for all of those facts that we just talked about, right?
Yes,
Venus Star Point.
And to bring up some of for instance, we're looking at the North Node, our destiny, with somewhat of the vision of with Neptune, which is the greater expansion.
I would like to
I
would like to add some stuff. Of course, the superior conjunction or exterior conjunction, whichever, or direct conjunction, means that Venus is behind the sun. Okay, from our perspective, that's how their cycle works. Mercury and Venus both do that because they're closer to the sun than us. But on this Venus star point, just look at this. Mercury, Venus, and Mars are all under the beams of the sun. Mars is burned out from the light of the sun. And so that makes this direct conjunction even more powerful. And one other thing, Venus, when she is invisible behind the sun from our perspective, It's an awful long time. She will not emerge as evening star until the eclipse on February the 17th. And she will emerge at 8 degrees Pisces, conjunct the Pisces North Node on that day.
Oh,
is that
for that?
Is that mind-blowing?
No, it's so important. And when you actually see how, because Mercury is most of the time hidden by the sun's beams because it's too bright.
But Venus isn't. Venus is so bright.
This is very important.
And the fact that she will emerge on February the 17th, which is not long away, conjunct the Pisces North Node, and she is exalted in Pisces, to my mind, is really promising. It's almost like we're coming to the end of a very dark tunnel.
And that happens to be the lunar new moon, which is going to be the fire horse, because I have Jen Ing, who will be returning just a couple days before.
And then just a couple days after we get the Saturn-Neptune conjunction.
Oh my goodness!
I think it's the same day, isn't it?
No,
it's like the 21st or something. 21st.
Oh,
21st.
okay.
No, it's the
well,
20th.
they're on that day that of the eclipse, they are minutes apart, Saturn and Neptune.
Oh.
So
Well, last year had a lot
it's
of
just astounding.
it's like dominoes, and I suppose that's really because music is like that, isn't it? I'm just thinking of the better side of things. I like to try to have a few smiles beyond the fears. But really, when there's these kind of quick events, there's a music, there's a system, there's a rhythm, there's all this kinetic stuff, and all the other people that we're experiencing. Well, let's see what we have. Yes, bottom line. Mars is conjunct this. It's a big deal. And it means action, leadership, caring heart, new world. We have about 3 minutes.
Well, I mean, am I able to share anything?
Do you want to share more? Yes.
No, I was just going to look at that solar eclipse chart, but I'm just going to talk about it. So that day that Venus emerges, because it's a really important day anyway. It's called the heliacal rise of Venus as evening star. So it's all some Venus practitioners use the actual heliacal rise and set instead of the Venus Star Point. So it's as important. On that day, the south node of Jupiter and Juno asteroid will be at 17 Capricorn, conjunct that Venus Star Point. Vesta and Mars will be at 19 Aquarius, conjunct. We've got the new moon eclipse at 28 Aquarius, and then with Venus and the North Node conjunct, they're conjunct Pallas Athena. And Saturn and Neptune, you're right, are 15 minutes apart at 0 Aries. It's quite astounding, to be honest. And I just have such a good vibe. But that's the point of it, is that this is what this Venus Star Point is leading to.
I jotted these down, and it makes me realize, because looking at the asteroids, which Laura and I do quite a bit, but in this one it seemed there was so much happening. But Vesta is our flame. So if Mars is conjuncted, we could think that we're really focused on what lights our hearth of our flame.
It's also the state. The state, Vesta. Vesta is the state.
Oh, the state. Good.
Well, and the Vestal Virgins kept the fire burning in Rome. So
yes, indeed, at penalty of death, as it turned out, if they did. And Venus so concerned with Pallas of strategy. So here we have, like, are we going to focus on our and Juno wants our alignment. Well, it's marriage, but it's in modern ways it's alliances.
All contracts, really. Yeah.
Contracts, a good word, yes.
Yeah.
So here we are really strategizing, as you say, a new terms of how are we putting all these pieces together so that we have a fertile life that gives hope, as we say, and joy. Life is supposed to have some joy for the moment, which I find with both of you, and I'm so thankful. And as I received Laura's beautiful Christmas card, it said, gratitude is the key. So I'll use that. I do on a basis. Well,
thanks, everybody.
Yes. Thanks
Yes,
for joining us.
Indeed. May your month go as seeds for your birthday. And we'll
Thank
come
you.
back. Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Thank you for joining this vibrant and insightful conversation on Talk Cosmos, the show where sueroseminahan and her guests awaken consciousness by connecting heart and soul consciousness patterns with astrology's energetic cycles. Be sure to tune in next week, same time, same place, to continue your journey through the roots of the cosmic pathway.